finisher. Good morning, my neighbors. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. So, I did want to come and give a sit down to discuss my um, half marathon that I did like in October. It was quite something. It was a lot of things. And I just thought, wouldn't it be nice to come and share my personal experience as a new runner and a new runner that chose her first race to be half marathon. Firstly, I would like to start by saying that prior to this race, I had zero running background. So the race was in October, and so I joined my run club in June. When I joined the run club, I had no idea or will have no interest in any race. I just wanted to start a new hobby that I will enjoy and not isolate myself anymore, meet new people. By the end of June, I already thought like, hey, wouldn't it be crazy? Would it be crazy if I want to run a race? I was like, oh, maybe I should do a 5K. I was like, okay, like 5K is too easy. I need to do something hard, right? Because me, I'm just an overachiever in everything. So I was like, this would be really nice to train for this half marathon. The people that run it, they don't have two heads, right? So it was like in July. It was in July that I decided I was going to start training for a half marathon. And the great thing about my run club was that they have, it's not was, it still is, they have really great coaches that were helping me, especially because I was not fit at the time. And I really wanted to be very fit and run really like good time and just keep up with this pace, train myself because I have not run more than 2 miles in my life before. So I was like, oh, I need to figure it out. I did my research. I'm like, okay, like, and for the race I signed up for, you only have three. If you cannot complete it in 3 hours, sorry, you're not a finisher. Like, they literally have 3 hour. That's it. If you cannot complete it in 3 hours, don't even sign up, right? So I was like, you know what, like 3 hours is the time I'm working with. I need to pace myself to finish before 3 hours. So I did my first I'm looking down because I have like talking points that I have here. So I started training, doing my long runs on Sundays. I was speaking to one of the coaches. He was advising me like every week just try to up by 1 mile because so from July I had like 12 weeks to prepare for this race. Then so it was like it would make sense for you to just even if you add on even if you it was like 14 weeks or 15 weeks, I've forgotten. So even if you add on 1 mile every week, you will still have like a week or two to like recover and be ready for the race. So I was like, oh, that would be really nice to plan it that way. But me, I really like to do what I feel comfortable doing. So when I did the 4 mile this week, 5 mile the following week, then I did 6 miles. Then the following week, I was like, 6, 8, what's the difference? So I decided to run 8 miles that day, and I really felt so good because I stopped doing the odd numbers or like intervals. I just started doing like even numbers. So I trained for 8. I ran for 8. The following week I would do 10, and then I did 12. And then when I was like, so I had like I don't know if I would call it like some sort of like sickness. I was like not feeling well for like a week and a half. So when I came back, I spoke to one of my coaches, like, should I do like a dry run to see if I would like be ready? He was like, don't do any dry run. You don't want to be tired or make yourself like worn out. Or do normal like easy runs. I'm like, all right, cool. So that was like how my training schedule was for my race. In terms of my diet, I was doing not like my current diet. I do I'm very frequent with intermittent fasting. So I do 20 to 22 hours fasting, and then I eat like within, depending on the day, I can eat. My eating window can range between like 1 to 4 hours, depending on the day. My eating window, I don't really eat a lot of like things. I make my meals. I do like a lot of protein shakes, a lot of protein. I eat fish. My carbs is like quinoa, chickpeas. I do like potato porridges. I make Nigerian soups, but I eat it with like oatmeal swallow instead of the regular swallow. And I mean, I guess I'll go into details later about that. But it's more like protein shakes, anything that has protein. I ate a lot of salads. I have like black bean burgers that I have, and then I make them into like burgers, or I make them as like a topper on my salads. That was about it. That was like all of the summary of my pre-race. So on the day of my race, um, I got there. I didn't know where I was going. I had to go there early so I don't get lost. It was like it's a charity run, so it's in a park, and there's like a it seemed like the park is quite huge, so I had to locate the place. And then I was like, oh my god, like this is actually happening. I was so scared. I was freaking out. I was like, I don't even know, like, am I wearing the right amount of clothing, because it was cold but then it's hot. I'm wearing like a top, like tank top with sweater, and then I had a hat. LOL. So I was like, how, let me hold it. My mic just fell off, so I'm gonna keep talking and hold it. So I was like, how would I continue with this? Like, I'm panicking, I'm shaking, no one knows what's going on. You can, if anyone was watching me, they will tell I'm very nervous, because when I got my bib, I was putting it on different parts of my body. It was very weird. So that's how nervous I was. But at the end of the day, I still did it. The night before, I didn't even mention, I could not sleep. Like, I was so nervous. I was so tired and so nervous. I did not sleep properly. I would sleep for 2 hours, and I'll wake up and I'll panic. I'll sleep again. I'll wake up. Like, I was so excited. The first day of school, you're excited. You don't know what to expect. That's how I felt about this race. And when I did it, when I realized like we're running loops, I was like, I don't know what that would be about. Like, I don't know how that will work, because when I run my races, they're pretty flat. I go, if I'm doing 8 miles, I run 4 miles, come back for my eight is over. So having to do like 5 loops or seven, I don't know how many loops, I think it was 4 loops for like the half, was insane. And I'm just like, I'm not really, I didn't think I trained for this. It was cold. Then I was running, my watch died. My watch died. I had to keep smiling. After my second or third loop, my leg was really messed up. I will cramp. It would feel like my leg is stiff, and I will not have feel anything. For a little while, I will just stand there. I'll walk. I'll start trying to walk, because the thing was like I was so committed to not walking at all in the whole race. I just wanted to run and get it over with. Even though like I'm sure they are doing like placements, like people are running first, second, third. That's fine. But I just wanted to say I did it, right? When I finally decided to um just keep running, because after the third loop, you start seeing less and less people. You start feeling weird, because it was like 5K, 10K, then half. Then all the 5K, 10K people are done. Then it's just a half people keep running. It's just a loop. It's nothing you can do about it. It was, and they had like tables. They had like tables with water, with gel, with Gatorade, like energy drinks. I don't drink energy drinks, and I was very much worried about the gels, because I wanted to make sure that they were kosher, and also make sure that they were like vegan as well. So it was just like it was what I was most of the reason I wasn't sure about the gels. But when I asked them, they told me that it was kosher, and hopefully they were correct and they were just not saying that to me. If you have food sensitive stomach, don't experiment with new things on the day of the race. Don't experiment with drinks, with gels, with new clothes, with nothing. If you don't know, just keep going, just stick to your water and whatever you bring yourself, right? So you want to like run as if you are running on normal runs. Don't make it a big deal and start buying new clothes, new socks, new shoes. Like you don't want to be messed up. When I finished my last loop and I ran through, I realized like I probably has been like dehydrated because by the time I got to the finish line, my toes were cramped up like this. Like my toe is like this in my shoe, but it was cramped up. So I could not move. So I was stiff. I was just there stuck, not moving. And I was like, okay, am I okay? So I called the EMT. I told the photographer at the finish line, please help me call EMT because I want to make sure I'm okay. I've never felt like this before for the past weeks I've been training. So they called EMT. They came and they checked my blood pressure. They asked me, do I feel sensation on my foot, my leg, everywhere? They tested it, and I did. They were like, oh, I'm just dehydrated. I should make sure I hydrate myself very well, and to be sure I'm well hydrated during the race. So it was after the race, I went to get my medal, my finisher medal. They gave us this cold as bagel. I'm like, okay. So I did not like I was not able to leave the park for like 45 minutes because literally I was having like muscle spasms, and my foot was still cramped. So I had to remove my shoes. I had to wear my Crocs because I went with my Crocs, and then I had to just wait. And then when I finally met with my running coach at my run club, and then he was like telling me that the reason why you might have cramped up was because it's not the same because the way I it's not the same of like energy, or if you're trying to fuel yourself, let's say you had one gel in the first 5K, like that is your fullest time, that is how you are strong in the first 5K. You don't need much, but you're not going to use your first 5K to judge like the rest of the four loops of the 5K. So it's like less, I feel very low because in my mind I was like, oh, because that's what I normally do. Like every five, that's how I've trained. Every 5K, one gel. Every 5K, one gel. Like that day was it's not a normal race. I'm running, maybe I was lacking more energy than I anticipated. My water, my backpack, my water vest was not enough. The gels, I only had three gels in the 13.1 miles I ran. After every 5K, I needed to double it because my body is now losing energy. And I needed to keep going higher and higher, not lower and lower. So that was like the only thing that I did wrong in this whole thing. And I finished my race in 2 hours and 44 minutes. I'm hoping to finish another half marathon in like 2 hour 15, but I'm just trying to be as fit as possible. Uh, that is my whole experience with my first half marathon as a beginner runner, as a runner. I'm gonna keep running, so I feel like this would be a good start to my journey. I just want to keep documenting it. I'm gonna keep signing up for races. I'm also planning to run a 5K next, so hopefully that goes well. This is like my new thing, and I love it. It's amazing. I've gotten to meet new people, smart people, people who are just like fit, successful. They're doing great in their lives. People who have been running for years and years and years, and they're giving you advice. And it's just like how running has impacted my life. Next, I'll probably come to talk about other things. But for now, see you next time.